Yeah.
Ashwin, my brother.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, man.
I'm
So
good.
good to see you. This is such a weird podcast because we just met like what 3 days ago. I
Yeah,
guess?
3-4 days ago.
3-4 days ago. And I
Yeah.
spoke with you for a moment. I was like, fuck man, emang semua teman Marco tuh sekeren ini ya gitu.
Yeah, I think it's just Marco is a unique individual, so I think he naturally attract like people he can, connect with. Tapi yeah, I think all of us are unique in our own ways.
That's
I
cool, man.
guess.
This is something that I'm very curious about. Karena gini loh, kayak all my life I've known Marco as he already is, like right now. But you've known Marco like for like what, 4 years?
No. I think 8 years to 9 years.
Holy
Yeah,
shit!
8-9
to
years. Yeah.
You basically grew together though. Kok gitu.
Yeah, so we met in uni, right? We didn't speak too much in uni, but then like when we got back to Indonesia, we started reconnecting and we started hanging out more and more. And yeah, he was a completely different individual back then. And I can safely say that he is one of my closest friends now. And it's crazy. I've witnessed his growth, and he basically reinvented himself, and that is something that I am very proud of. And also I feel like that is something that I want to learn, like how to reinvent myself completely like that. So yeah, I think yes, definitely. Marco was not like this, and he is a completely different individual now. Yeah.
So Marco was a completely different person back
Yeah,
then.
he was shy, reserved, and
Oh, really?
yeah.
Shy and reserved.
Yeah, shy and reserved.
Marco being shy and reserved.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And one of the things that you admired from him as a friend is the fact that he's able to reinvent himself completely.
Yeah. He is not afraid to try new things all the time. I think from when we first met, he tried a lot of other businesses. I think he tried making his own brand, a sambal brand, and then he tried. I think he is still in his triplek business, his plywood business, and then he is also helping with his parents' business juga. So he tried a lot of things, and I'm glad that he actually finally found something that he is really good at, which is being an influencer. And
Oh yeah, 30. No, 30
minutes. Yeah.
By the way, ada Aurelia di sini.
So yeah. I'm glad that he finally found what he is really good at, which is becoming an influencer and
creator kan tadinya.
online persona. Yeah.
What's something that you genuinely admire from Marco as a person, as a friend?
As a friend, he is very thoughtful, and he like for example, like right now, I am trying to also have my own, like I'm also trying to do this content stuff, right? And he has been very very helpful in a way. He knows that I get overwhelmed pretty easily. So when I talk to him about creating content and how to get into this affiliate business, he makes it sound easy for me so that I'm not intimidated. So he is thoughtful in that sense. And then the second way that he has helped me is by giving me the stuff that he has been making content with.
That's very helpful.
So I don't actually have to buy my stuff, the stuff that I review. I can just get it from him. Like anything, like he would give me bags upon bags upon bags. So I think, yeah, he's very supportive. I think that's what I really admire about Marco.
He's very thoughtful in the regard that he understands that you're easily overwhelmed, and he makes sure that whenever he's communicating with you, he makes you. He simplifies things to make you realize that it's not that complicated.
Yes.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yes.
Gitu loh. And he made sure that whatever you need from me, I'm gladly supporting.
Yeah. Even before I started, he mentioned a couple times that these brands reached out to me to help them with their products, and eventually, if you're big enough, I'll connect you with them as well. And that's already something like that motivated me quite a lot. Like I know that when I reach a certain point, I know that he's there. He's going to be there to help me go further, right? So I think I think that's something that I'm really glad to have.
I think that kind of brotherhood is so helpful and special, isn't it? As a man, I think like having those groups of friends that would genuinely help you reach whatever the fuck you want to achieve.
Yeah, I think it's very important for you to pick your group of friends.
Right.
I think especially if you're like me, I'm very very easily influenced to my surroundings, and I think I it's safe for me to say that ever since uni days, I've always tried to pick a group that is going to help me move
Right.
further in life. In my studies, I would pick groups that are diligent and they want to study, and we compete with each other. And even after graduating uni, I make sure that my group of friends they actually do something useful with their lives
productive.
and productive. So I think I don't see my friends as kayak yang special atau kayak they're one of a kind atau they're they're not that crazily they're not kayak special gimana, but I know for sure that they try their best given their situation, and they always they're not the giving up type. So I think that's
They're
very
resilient.
important. They're resilient. Yeah, they persevere. So I think that's very important for me because I think it's very important for you to have friends that are resilient, because in life I think you're being handed different kinds of cards throughout your life, right? And it's very important for you to be able to adapt all the time and remain positive. And I feel like the friend group that I have now, they're like that. So I think that's important for me. So that's what I look for when I'm looking for a group of friends. But for others, if like you guys know what you need in life, for example, if you need someone, if you need a group of friends that are super positive towards what you want to do, go for it. Like pick a friend pick a friend group that is positive and can support you in anything. If you need your friends to be your devil's advocate, pick a friend group that is critical, right? They
would challenge your
they would
thoughts.
challenge your thoughts. So for me, it's very important for me to have a group of friends that is resilient, and also they can challenge my ideas as well.
One of the things that I noticed from you is that your ability to pick friends wisely speaks to your intelligence. Why? Because the fact that you're able to be self-aware, knowing that you're easily influenced, it made you much more cautious in selecting the groups of friends that you're with. And so you identify people who would challenge you, people who are resilient, people who are intelligent, so that you're also easily influenced by those positive attributes. I think that's so cool to have.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't consider myself like intelligent. Like I'm quite self-aware. That for sure. I think that's something that I have. I'm quite self-aware. If I need something in life, I would try different kinds of. I would try anything just to get that exposure and to be surrounded by people who can support and help me reach that whatever goal that I want. But I'm still far from being called
Intelligent.
I think I still have a lot to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. How important is self-awareness for young men? How important is it to the point that they should prioritize it and develop it as they go?
I think self-awareness goes hand in hand with growth, right? Because there are so many skills that you can learn, and especially now with ChatGPT and I think the online space is a crazy vast space for you to learn a lot of things, right? So it's very important for you to be self-aware and know what you actually need to learn at the moment,
Right.
so that you don't get overwhelmed, so that you don't lose track of focus, and so that you can actually, I mean, we're not pengangguran, right? We have a finite amount of time, and with the amount of free time that we have, we really need to and make sure that we are learning the skills that we need at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's why being aware of your own abilities and where you're lacking. I think it's very important.
Your
so that,
interest.
Yeah, so that you can really, direct yourself towards
That's so
whatever
cool.
you need to learn.
I think that's such a cool thought to linger upon for a second. You mentioned before that self-awareness goes hand in hand with growth. And I do think that self-awareness goes hand in hand with focus as well. Because if you're not self-aware of what you want, what you're interested in, what is needed for you to learn, there's no focus in your life. You don't really know what you want.
And actually, this links to my previous comment about picking your own friend group and how I prioritize, how I want my friends to be able to challenge me and be my devil's advocate, because I cannot be 100% sure that I know what I lack.
Right.
Sometimes if you have a friend group that is not afraid or not afraid to challenge you, they get to challenge you and they get to let you know that, okay, yes, you think so, but I think this is
This is a stupid idea.
you need to do this instead. By doing that, we get to see, okay, it makes it clear for you to see where you need to
work on, where you need to develop. What are the holes that you have in your logical processing, right?
What are the things you need to brush up on, things like that.
I think that's so cool to have, those kinds of brotherhood, those kinds of friendship that enables you to avoid the common pitfalls that men fall into, right? Like, hey, bro, you're being stupid here. Be careful. Go there instead. Right?
Yeah, I think this is. I want to emphasize this. I cannot. I think hate is a strong word, but I hate people who are like people pleasers. I hate people pleasers. Like if they say all the right stuff all the time and they make you hear what you thought you want to hear. I think those kinds of people are the most dangerous kinds of people, because one, they are not allowing you to see what you need to
See.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They're just there to say whatever.
They're just there to lick your ass.
Yeah, so and I don't appreciate that. Even when working with people I work with, I think it's very important for them to be able to challenge me and not just say yes to whatever I say. And I think that's very important.
That goes back to our previous conversation in the cafe where you mentioned before that, one of the things that your higher ups or your boss appreciate from you is that your ability to challenge their thoughts, right? Because by showing that you have intelligence to understand where are their logical fallacies, that increases your value in that regard, right? And it not only works in the working environment, it also works in your friendship environment, right? I really want to move to this other topic. You mentioned before that having a sense of close-knit brotherhood is so important because they enable you to see your blind spots and where you need to brush upon your thoughts. I'm very curious, how important is mentors to you in that regard?
Very important, very important. I feel like as much as I think that I know my stuff, I feel like there are other people who are definitely way smarter from me, and it's solely because of their experience, their the fact that they've done something for way longer than me. And to have that mentor, I think it's very important. And I think getting yourself a mentor is not something that is easy. One, you need to respect them because they know way more than you. Second point is that they need to respect you enough so that they want you to grow and are willing to teach you to
Put
do
in
the
the
things.
work, right?
Teach you and tell you how to direct you. So I think gaining your mentor's respect and also helping them in a way, it's something that I'm still also learning, but I see it as something that is very important. Finding that balance between helping your mentor and also respecting your mentor.
Do you have mentors now?
Yeah, definitely. I think I have a few uncles that I look up to.
Oh,
Yeah, a
your
few
mentors are uncles.
My uncles, and I think for me, I see almost everyone as my mentors sih sebenarnya. Like even Marco is my mentor, and I feel like the people around me, they're so much better than me in different areas, right? And
right.
they can be my mentor in that particular
Bro,
that specific area.
That's
So
so
I don't need one mentor who knows it all.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exponentially harder for you to find someone like that.
Bro, yeah,
But
yeah.
if you see like okay, these are the topics that I want to learn in life, and these are the individuals that are good at it, then just see them as mentors in those topics, right? I mean,
Right.
like it's gonna be easier. And the next step for me is to actually, okay, how do I bring value to these so-called mentors, and also how do I motivate them to want to help me?
Right.
I think that's the tough part and the challenging part right now.
Yeah.
Right?
How to motivate them to help you. In the end of the day, you still have to sell yourself. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like, why would they want to spend their time to
I'm with
help
you.
me?
Exactly.
They can, see other people to help, and yeah.
And that's when you need to show your potential why you're worth their time.
Yeah.
Right? I really want to tie back to this idea here. Like, I noticed something also about the way you think. Yeah. I think that one of the hallmarks of intelligence is knowing where they fall short. Part of a branch of intelligence is humility, understanding where you're lacking, and then making sure that, because the way I see you right now is that the way you think is, I know where the fuck I'm lacking, so I can identify people who can fill up those strengths, and I understand that there's no one size fits all in terms of my mentor. Person A can mentor me in this aspect of life. Person B can mentor me in this aspect of life. Person C can mentor me in this aspect of life. So I think that that's so cool. I think one of the things that I wanted to emphasize in this point is that I think as young men, you should understand, again, self-awareness, where you are lacking, and making sure that you're able to identify people who can help you in that regard. Because that is the hallmark of you being an intelligent young man.
Yeah. And I think another point that needs to be emphasized is the fact that you also need to learn how to convince them, right? I think bringing value to those mentors is something that is quite tough as well, because like if you're looking at them as your mentor, means they know more than you.
Exactly.
Then how can you actually bring value for them so that they want to help you? So
Right.
so that's quite a tricky thing for you to do, and if you can, if you practice enough, I think you will be able to do it better and better and better.
What are the ways in which you have delivered value to your mentors?
I think showing them. Okay, so I've told you this before, but to me, the easiest way for me to learn is to actually teach someone, right? So I mentioned that point. So if I want to bring value to my mentor while still, accepting knowledge from them, I need to show them, okay, I'm going to challenge them in their ideas to make them think again. And second is I want to show them how effective they are in teaching others. So, okay, when you told me this, I tried it and it didn't help me.
Right.
And I did this, it actually worked. So next time, if you teach someone, maybe you should mention this instead. So I also help them in terms of their delivery, and also okay, next time if you want to teach others about this, maybe you can do this instead, because this was the difficulty that I faced when I followed your direction, and it got them thinking again. Okay, maybe those topics always interest them. I feel like it's always something interesting.
Because you're basically filling in their blind spots.
Yes.
Right?
So sometimes when you know something, you get this tunnel vision where you think you know something, right? But then when you're talking to someone who is completely, blind about that topic, they'll raise questions that you never thought about before.
Exactly.
And those questions, I think it's quite hard to ask the right question. Of course, there's no such thing as stupid question, but then if you want to think a little bit and challenge them, I think those are the things that your mentors would appreciate also. See,
That's cool, There's an art to asking the right questions.
Yeah.
It's like a legit skill,
because
asking the right questions.
It shows your mentor or whoever you're talking to that you are actually thinking about their responses, and
You're paying attention to
you're
them.
paying attention to them. Yeah, and I think that part alone, the fact that you pay attention to them, is something that you can offer to them, right? So
Right.
just make sure when you're talking to your mentor and you're asking questions, just pay attention and be present and
Exactly.
ask questions and engage. Right. I think that's the simplest thing that you can offer as
A mentee.
Yeah, a mentee.
Right. That's so cool. Like the value that you deliver as a mentee is your attention, right? And making sure that you can ask the right questions because you paid attention
Yeah.
to what they were saying.
Yeah. That's the least you can offer. Right?
I have a mentor that I found in Taiwan, right? When I was doing a student exchange, I realized that, yeah, as a person, having a mentor is important. But when I put myself in his shoes, having a mentee is equally important as well. Why? Because they derived a sense of meaning to their life when they made sure that I have someone that I took under my wing and I
Yeah.
can see someone
Definitely,
that I
definitely.
have a positive impact on.
Definitely. I think that's something that all my mentors would feel as well, because when they teach me something, I always give them updates about what I've done. Like this morning alone, I've been asking Marco on how to do better and better in this content thing. Right.
Right.
I gave Marco an update on my sales. Like
Okay.
to show him that, hey, I complained about this last week and I've made progress this week because I've followed your advice. And
Yeah.
I think that alone makes him, makes his day better as well. Like, so I think that sense of being,
Useful, being of
and
service,
helpful.
being meaningful,
Something
having
that-
like a positive
yeah.
impact, that makes your life much better.
Yeah,
Making sure that you have someone to take under your wing and seeing that, fuck man, you achieved greater heights and I helped you there and I'm proud of you that you accomplished that shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, Ashwin, I want to shift the gear a bit, yeah? So, my entire reason why I started this podcast is because I feel like every single damn time I walk away from a conversation, especially with men who are older than me, I feel a little bit less stupid, right? And I realized that when I provide the ears to listen to the people that I'm speaking to, I notice that every single goddamn time their life story has something of value to carry away. No matter who they are, whether you're as big as Marco or just like a normal guy with no social platform whatsoever, I realize that if I really listen to them, to the life that they have lived, to the hardships that they went through, to the story that they've walked, I realized that I can take away like golden wisdom from them. So my entire goal of this podcast is to make sure that I can understand my guest as deeply as I possibly can. And I think that one of the reasonable ways that you can understand a person as deeply as possible is making sure that you understand where their childhood comes from. What are the things that they walked through that allowed them to be the person sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, can you enlighten me again? Because all this time I've known you as who you are, like right now, udah jadi, ya kan? But can you walk me back to the story of your childhood? Like, what did the young Ashwin often think and feel during that period of time? What are the things that you walked through that allowed you to be the person sitting right in front of me now?
Sure. So interesting. Let me think, because I think I've mentioned a thing or two about being self-aware, right? But then I was never the self-aware type when I was growing up. I guess I learned that the hard way, in a way. So when I was growing up, I was confident, I was cocky, and I was cocky is the word actually. So I thought I knew everything, and that I think the mistakes that I've made throughout my, my I wouldn't say my lifetime, but like my teenage years has taught me how to be more self-aware, and that self-awareness is very important. I think even right now I talk so much about being self-aware, but I feel like I am still not self-aware enough. I feel like there are still blind spots, like when I talk to my girlfriend, when I talk to my parent, when I talk to my parents, when I talk to my brother, when I talk to my cousins. I feel like those people who are not afraid to make comments about my personalities, basically, they still often say a thing or two that I never realized before.
Right.
So I think this is something that I'm still learning, but definitely when I was growing up, I was not this self-aware. And I think growing up, my parents, they have never put any kinds of pressure on me. Like they have always let me do my own thing, and they have always given me this trust that I am going to pick the right choices.
That is cool.
So
That is
I think
cool.
that is something that I'm blessed with, and because of that, I am way more cautious in the paths that I choose in a way, because I don't want to disappoint them. So the way
Whoa,
I,
that's cool.
the way I think about it is that, okay, so my parents worked hard for me to get this education, the level of education that I got, and it's not cheap, and the last thing I want is for me to disappoint them, and because of that, I feel like without the pressure on me, and also knowing how big of a thing it was for them to give me the education that I had, I feel like I owe it to them to do something in my life, right? So I think that alone made me choose paths that are better for me, and
That would avoid breaking their hearts.
yeah. And another major thing that made me who I am today is my friends, like the people around me.
Right.
I feel like I've always been this person who is so I wasn't self-aware, but I was never the type to not want to learn from the people around me.
You're curious.
Yeah, I was curious. So knowing myself in a way, I knew that I was curious. I want to surround myself with interesting individuals,
Bro.
yang
yeah,
punya
yeah.
stories gitu of their own. And I think because of that also, the people around me, they taught me how to be more creative in a way. Like there are people who failed and then made it, and then failed again and then made it again. So I think that also gave me the courage to try new things all the time,
And
because
to fail miserably,
Yeah.
because it's okay to fail.
yeah, but even so, right? I think I have this fear of failure as well. I cannot lie and deny that. So that is also something that I'm learning at the moment. So looking at Marco, for example, is something inspiring for me. The reason why I told you it's motivating me is because he was not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And I think that is also something that I'm trying to take away from this friendship that I have with him, because I consider myself as someone who is afraid of failing, and it's not good because I'm still young, I'm ambitious, and I am confident. So if I'm confident and I'm young, I still have the energy, why should I
Be afraid
be
of
afraid
failing.
of failure?
Right.
So that is something that I am still trying to convince myself and keep on telling myself.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like right now I focus on trying something new all the time.
That's cool, bro.
Yeah.
I've done podcasts for like 13. You're basically like my 15th guest, I guess. Yeah, you're my 15th episode. And in my 14 episode with Marco, I can confidently say that amongst all of these 14 episodes, Marco one was the completely, totally flopping one.
Oh,
And
yeah?
yeah, like for real, for in my personal and subjective opinion. And I think that this is one of the things that I just realized as well, like doing this shit, right? When I failed the podcast with Marco, it changed my relationship with failure in such a significant manner. Because like all the damn time in the conversation, in the entirety of those 2 hours, I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of the gear falling apart. I was afraid of the mic falling apart. I was afraid of the conversation not being interesting. I was afraid like, I think Marco is bored about me, And I realized that, bro, like your fear of failure made you fail, right? Which is very funny in that regard. And once I failed, I completely reflected on that moment. Like, okay, you're gonna have a podcast with Ashwin, okay? If you still maintain this fear in your heart, most likely you're gonna fail and flop as well. Okay, so you need to fucking deal with this shit, right? So the moment that I started preparing for this podcast, I literally speak to myself like, okay, Dave, are you afraid? And to be honest with you, I'm a bit afraid of this podcast. Like, you're not the only one nervous here. Like, I am damn nervous as well. I'm afraid that the gear will fall. I'm afraid that the conversation won't be interesting. I'm afraid of things not working out as I wished. And I asked myself the question like, okay, let's say that things didn't go as you wished. And I was like, and I couldn't answer. I realized that if I failed, if this flopped entirely, if this format failed of free flow conversation, most likely Ashwin will walk away from this conversation in the next 2 years and will walk away feeling like this never happened in the first place.
Yeah.
Yoda. Okay, it's just like a speck. It's just a moment in your life. And in the next 5 or 10 years, you might not even remember about this.
Exactly. So I made a post in my TikTok account yesterday. And the caption that I picked for the video that I made was, we keep on thinking, what if we fail, right? But what if it works?
Exactly.
What if it works?
Exactly,
So
bro.
I think that is something that I
Exactly.
keep on telling myself, like, what if it works? If it works, then it's good, right? I mean,
Exactly.
like, I keep on thinking, what if it fails? But what if it the other
The other way around.
the other way around happens, right? So,
What if it works?
so yeah, I think that is something that I keep on trying to remind me of all the time when I am afraid. And I'm telling you, I often feel afraid. Like in when I work in the office, when I am dealing with some family problems, when I'm arguing with my girlfriend, when I'm when I'm creating my content, I think failure is something that I am really afraid of. But then I keep on telling myself, I keep on reminding myself on that phrase, right? Like, what if I fail? But what if it works, right?
What if it works?
So
Exactly.
I think remembering that phrase alone, I think has made me made me braver. Basically,
It changed your relationship
Yeah.
with failure.
Yeah.
Right? Like my whole relationship with failure changed after I failed completely with Marco. And I realized that maybe it was supposed to fail in a sense that it's necessary for me to walk that painful path to grow as an individual, as a person. And I realized that, okay, it fails. And then like what? Ashwin walks away in the next 5 years with his kids and his girlfriend and his future wife. And it's not gonna even pop in his mind. Like I did a podcast with that kid back then. And then me, in the next 5 years when I'm 26 or something, I'm not gonna even remember this shit. And then like most likely the world will spin around. Everybody will not even be aware of this failure happening. So why are you making it such a big deal in the first place?
Yeah, if you think of how insignificant your mistakes are
Exactly.
when compared to the universe, I
Exactly.
think it makes it easier for you to deal with failure.
Yeah.
And I think this is also the content that I posted yesterday was about this phrase I keep on hearing online. Maybe in another life. But the fact is that no, you only have this life.
Exactly.
You only have this life, and you need to make the change now. You need to try it now. You need to face that failure now. You only have this life, and you have to make the most out of it. So yeah.
You're all in this life. You might as well make the best use out of it. Especially like this is something that I keep on reminding myself as well. Like fucking hell, Dave, you're like 21. Okay. Like the only advantage that you have against people like Marco, who are like 28 with more experience, like what are the advantages they have against me? Well, number one, they have skills, they have experience, they have knowledge, they have the capital and the money. What is it that I have over them? My time.
Bro,
Literally.
you don't even have to think that way. What you have when compared to Marco and myself, for example, is the fact that you have no experience. It makes it more okay for you to make mistakes.
Exactly.
So like
Exactly.
So like, I think I do that to myself as well when I compare myself to someone with more experience, and when I think about fear of failing, I think to myself, yeah, what if I fail? But it's better for me to make that failure now than in 20 years time.
Exactly. When you have everything to lose.
Yeah. At least now I have an excuse that I am still young and I know nothing.
I'm a stupid boy.
Yeah, and I know nothing. So that applies even more for you, right? So
Exactly.
like it's you have all the excuse that you have. I mean, like
To fuck around, not to fuck around. I mean, like to fuck up the necessary mistakes that is necessary.
Exactly.
Not just the stupid ones.
exactly. Yes, they have more experience, but that's also your advantage. You have no experience.
experience.
Then people have no expectations,
And you don't have to live up to those expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's cool. That's a cool thing to remember. I think Okay, especially like I built this podcast with young men in mind, men like me who are still like 21, 20, like who have no idea what the fuck they want to do in life. Like I realized that one of your superpowers as a young man is literally those two things. You have time. I have like 7 years advantage compared to Marco. Like 7 years is a shit ton of time, man. Like that's a lot. Number two is that I don't have anything to lose. My reputation is not on the line. I literally have the lack of experience as an excuse, as a shield for me to fuck around and fuck up.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
And so if that's the case, then what young men should do in mind here is to fuck up as often as you can, to fail as miserably as you can, because that's the only way you can have your feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly. Feedback loop. I think that's a really. So I was listening to this podcast yesterday, just yesterday. It was about
Talk to me.
failure as well. It was about failure as well, and he mentioned a thing about the feedback loop also. So I think as a kid, when you started learning how to run, you fall and fall and fall and fall, and you just have this one thing in mind, for you to run, right? Because that's the normal thing to do. But as an adult, you don't have that benchmark. What is the normal thing to achieve and what's not normal to achieve? So that makes it a little bit harder for you to get a gauge of where you're heading. But then the mistakes is something that you have to keep on experiencing, right?
Right.
So that makes it tough for a lot of people. But then if you think of failure as as that one step closer to being being successful, I think
I love that.
it's it's just gonna be easier.
I really love that. Failure is basically just one step closer to success, whatever success means to you, whatever it means. That's cool. I'm loving this conversation so far. I really.
But again, this is just me telling myself that I believe in those things. It's still very hard for me to exercise these thoughts on a daily basis. So I think this is me talking about the ideal way of thinking.
You know what, Ashwin? Like, this is something that you should do. Once I uploaded this on Spotify, when you're being like a bitch and you're being afraid and you're being a pussy, listen to this podcast. Like, listen to the advice that you give to yourself, bro. You should listen to your advice.
No,
but generally speaking, one of the things that I realize here is that it's so easy for us to speak about these ideas. It's so easy for us to talk about all of the ideals, the principles that we must live by. But the hardest part about those things is actually living them.
Yeah.
It's the execution that's difficult. Understanding these kinds of things is quite simple, actually. It's kind of like a basic common sense. But living them, that's the hard part, Which made me realize that actually, like, the secret to success isn't like a random formula that is mysterious that you need like a mathematical approach to decode it. It's actually something very simple that you just have to live by,
You just have to do things.
Exactly. Yeah. Do things. I have someone that I look up to, that Marco looks up to as well. His name is Alex Hormozy. And he mentioned this idea that fail so much and do so much work to the point that it's unreasonable for you to succeed. I love that.
Unreasonable for you to fail.
Sorry, my bad. Unreasonable for you to fail. Do so much work to the point that it's unreasonable for you to fail.
Yes.
Like,
I love that as well.
True. Exactly. Like, I was thinking about this. Like, I think that one of my main flaws as well, as a human being, is that I'm prideful in a sense like this. This isn't like my 15th podcast. How prideful of me to assume that I have the experience and the skills of someone who have been in the podcasting world for like 7 years, like Joe Rogan, or people that I genuinely look up to. How prideful of me to assume that I wanted everything to be smooth on the go. How prideful of me to assume that I do not have to go to the same failure and disappointments that they experienced back then when they were still like fucking around and messing things up. How prideful of me to assume that I don't have to go through those pain. And it made me realize, okay,
it's just a pathway that you have to endure. Exactly. And you have to experience all those mistakes and failures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Failure is just a necessary part of your journey to success, whatever success means to you, whatever it means. Right. I want to shift the gear back again. Yeah. Like you mentioned before that one of the groups of people that you genuinely look up to is your uncles, right? What's something that you genuinely admired from your mentors and your uncles?
I think it's their ability to see things. I think this is not something that this is not something that I can just learn right away. But I think it's the ability to see what other people can't see. I think opportunities that other people cannot see, and I think this is something that I can definitely learn right away. So how they can see the silver lining in
Oh
so many
shit, that's
things.
cool, bro.
Yeah, so
That is cool.
So I think in life you will have to deal with a lot of unfortunate events, right? Like deaths of your close friends, relatives, and those things are unfortunately something that you will have to experience and endure. So whether or not you can see the silver linings during those unfortunate moments of your life can actually determine where you're going to be in life. And when I, when they told me this, and when I realized how important it is to remain positive, it changed my life. I think
Wow.
yes, I'm still afraid of failure, but when I fail and when I end up failing and when I experience unfortunate, events, I'm not that disappointed. I know that, um I am wise enough to acknowledge that there are things beyond my control, and that, whatever that happened now is maybe for a reason. So I learned about this one concept online. It's about the
Talk to me.
burnt toast theory.
Okay.
So
Enlighten me.
the burnt toast theory. So I'm not sure if I explained this theory
Screw that.
perfectly, but the idea is, if you have a burnt toast, and you ended up remaking the toast, yes, the burnt toast itself is something unfortunate.
Yeah.
But maybe when you burn that toast and you have to spend another 5 minutes to make another toast, that train you were supposed to be on might crash. And
I get it.
you
I get
you end up avoiding that
Simply because of that burnt toast.
Simply because of that burnt toast. So one unfortunate thing that happened to you
Yeah, that's
may
cool.
not be all that bad. Maybe it's
so cool.
it leads you to another path that that is even better.
Yeah.
So when I remember that theory, and also how my uncles teach me how to remain positive and all, I think it makes me less afraid to deal with life in general. I guess I realized that before I was afraid of so many things, and now not so much.
Not so
feel
much
like,
anymore.
I feel like bad things are gonna happen, but good things are also gonna happen.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
when I was a kid, I have this irrational fear of. So when I'm sick, for example, it's weird for a kid to think like this, but I used to think like this. I would think, shit, I'll have to endure this kind of sickness like many more times throughout my life. And that stressed me out. Like but it's very irrational, it's very illogical. Why would I think that? There are a lot of good things that are gonna happen.
True.
So I used to be that negative, and now I'm way more positive, and oftentimes I would find myself giving advice on how to be more positive to my friends, my closest friends. So I think, and I try to do that. I try to teach my friends to be more positive, because again, teaching others means
Learning yourself.
learning yourself.
Exactly.
So I think making sure that you can remain positive throughout different phases of life, I think is very important.
Because and the way you can do that is by understanding the burnt toast theory. Understanding that shit happens. Things flop, but probably because of that shit happening, it directs you to a path.
And you avoid something bigger, something
Exactly.
more, something even scarier.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
If I try to implement that theory to my personal experience, I feel like my burnt toast is Marco's podcast. By flopping it like entirely in that podcast, it made me realize that the most important part in a podcast, the soul of it, is genuine conversation. Like now that I think about it, I can bet my ear on this table. Like, if I hadn't failed with Marco, I wouldn't have a good time here.
Yeah.
Because it made me realize that, Dave, in the end of the day, what makes a great podcast is making sure that you enjoy the conversation and the person you're speaking enjoys the conversation.
And what made you realize that is the failure you experienced before.
Exactly. If I hadn't failed that, if I hadn't burnt my toast there, I wouldn't have this. And I think that's a cool thing to have, Okay, awesome. We spoke a bit about familial background. Yeah, I want to move a bit to love and relationships for a while. I think that there's a lot of young men who might feel unwanted by women, undesired, unattractive. What do you say to those young men in mind who are listening?
I think the fact that they think that makes them unattractive to to others. I feel like you need to carry this confidence, and you need to believe in yourself. I feel like I cannot say that I'm this chick magnet or it's corny, but like I believe that at some point you need to believe in yourself and know that you can bring value to you can touch the you can touch the people around you. Like in a way you can teach them, you can bring value for them, right? So if you just focus on that, you focus on yourself. I think this is something that Marco talks a lot about as well, being able to improve yourself over time. And by doing that, I feel like subconsciously you will feel like oh, you know what, I am able to improve myself, and I know that I can bring value to whoever I speak to. And I think by looking at yourself like that, you're not gonna feel unwanted, and naturally you'll be more attractive.
Dude,
I feel like
that's so cool. How you see yourself is how you allow other people to see you.
Yeah, because ultimately they all have their own judgments of who you are, but then it's you who are responsible to convey your persona, right? Like how you want to project yourself, it's your responsibility. It's beyond your what they think about you is beyond your control.
Exactly.
But then how you portray yourself is
that
your
is within
responsibility.
Your control, right?
That is within your control. So I think if you focus on that alone, yes, you're going to repel like 5 people, but you're going to attract 50 others. Right?
Exactly.
But if you're reserved and you're not focused on improving yourself and all, you're gonna end up repelling all 55. Right.
Exactly.
So
how important is authenticity?
It's important to a point. At some point, I also acknowledge the value of being fake.
Okay, enlighten me.
Yeah, I think it's very important for you to be authentic to yourself. You know yourself, but when the one thing about being authentic, and the one thing about being unique is that, and the one thing about being self-aware is that you know that not everyone can accept how you roll and how you do things. So making adjustments as you go, and
that's cool.
Looking at, I wouldn't call it being fake, but like
it's being socially intelligent.
Yes, being socially intelligent and adjusting the way you communicate.
It's being adaptive.
Yeah. So in a way, you can say that that's not being authentic. If you're authentic, then
you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't wear a mask.
You wouldn't wear a mask. But I think wearing a mask is something that I feel it's very important. Not very important.
It's necessary.
I
would
also
say
it's important. So yes, it's very important for you to know yourself. Knowing yourself means knowing how you can bring in value to the conversation.
Yeah.
But like how you want to portray yourself, again, like I said, it's your responsibility. So yes, you cannot control how others might see you, but you can actually
adjust how you portray yourself to those people,
but
right?
at least you can mitigate a little bit, like
mitigate.
If you feel like this person is not going to appreciate how straightforward you are, then just tone it down a little bit, right? It's not being fake, it's just you adjusting to the person who you're with who you're talking to.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that's kind of like fucking important in a romantic relationship, isn't it? Like, okay, yeah, of course, like you wanted to be with someone who can celebrate you for who you are authentically and genuinely, but in the end of the day, okay, thank you, Aurelia. Okay, sorry, where are we again? Yeah, sorry, authenticity and relationship. Yeah, it's very important for you to be able to find someone who can genuinely celebrate you as you are, and at the same time, like, it's kind of important for you to understand that compromises are necessary in a relationship to survive. You know?
Definitely.
You're not on your own here. You're with someone else, and you need to make sure that you can adjust yourself to fit those missing, those puzzles together.
Yes, definitely.
Right? How many times have you failed in a romantic relationship before?
Serious relationship, I would say 3 or 4. I cannot remember for sure, but like the ones that I consider real relationship, yeah, 3 times.
3 times.
3 times. I think I thought it was, something that I consider real, and it failed. So yeah, 3 times.
Just because it's failed doesn't mean that it's fake.
No, it's not fake. It's just that. So
You thought it will last forever.
yeah, so those kind of things. So I consider that as failure. But like the others, right? Like when we were super young, I wouldn't consider that as failing because if it's just me figuring out, what I want in life, right?
Exactly.
But like those that I consider as failure is the ones that I thought would be something. Yeah.
What have you come to personally learn about these failures?
I think the one point that I made about learning the hard way to be more self-aware is coming from my romantic relationship.
That's where it comes from.
So I feel
Okay.
like I need to be more self-aware, but it's just one of the things that I take away lah. It's not the only thing. It's just one of the things. Yeah, but I think that's important for you to be self-aware. But the second point that I feel as something that is very important is you need to know what you want, and you need to not set boundaries, but like you need to, if you're not okay about something, you need to make sure that the other person knows that you're not okay about
that's
it.
fucking
So
important.
it's not about you trying to be this nice person and to show them that you accept them and all, but at some point you need to understand what you're going to tolerate and whether or not you're going to be able to tolerate this for the rest of your life.
Whether or not you'll be able to tolerate those behaviors for the rest of your life.
Because it's also directly correlated to the effort you put into this relationship. For example, if my partner does something that I cannot tolerate, but I act like I tolerate for the sake of being nice at the moment, but I know in 5-10 years that something would be something big and it would eat me inside. And that can be the reason for the relationship to end.
Break down.
And that means I don't actually care about the relationship.
Exactly.
enough.
Exactly.
So
that's cool.
It's something that I realized lately. So saying no or being not okay about something does not mean that you're not understanding and you're not nice. It's just that you care about the relationship so much for you to be able to say it right now and experience the how uncomfortable the conversation is for the sake of the future of the relationship.
Exactly. I think part of maturity is realizing that you have to sacrifice the present for the future.
Yeah.
Right? You have to engage in the conflict now in order to save the relationship in the future. There's a very fucking brilliant idea that says something along the lines of like this. Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that exactly explained the whole thing I just said right now, right?
It captures the essence of it, right?
Yeah, it captures the essence of it.
Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments.
Yeah.
If you don't speak out your expectations, you are basically building up yourself to resent the person that you're with.
And I used to be okay with everything because I thought that I want to be this person who is understanding and patient, because I'm not the most patient person. Like I don't consider myself patient at all. But with my partner, I try to be as patient as possible. But then when I force myself to be patient about all these little things that happens, it actually, I'm digging my own grave basically.
Exactly.
I'm helping with the digging of the relationship's grave. So it doesn't make sense.
That's a cool analogy.
Yeah.
You're basically digging up for the graveyard of that relationship.
Yeah. So
Okay, that's good.
yeah. So I don't want to do that again. I mean, like that's something that I try to fix. right now. Yeah.
Making sure that you're courageous enough to communicate what is it that you want, and making sure that you figured out what you want first,
Yes.
right? This is something that I'm thinking about as well. Like, how do you know if what you want is reasonable or you're just being a bitch?
This comes back to my point where I said I need people around me to be able to be my devil's advocate.
Yeah, to make sure that you're not being a bitch.
So I would run through my ideas and my plans to 3 different groups, for example, just to hear what they have to say about it, and from there I'll consider some. I will not consider some, but at the end of the day, I know that it's not completely unreasonable.
Right.
I know the types of risks that I'm dealing with, and also I think that's how I filter most of my thoughts. Basically, just talking to the people around me.
Dude, yeah. Having friends is so fucking useful in that regard. Yeah, it kind of applies to pretty much everything in life.
Yeah.
Whether that's in your career, that's in your business, in your financial matters, even in your relationships, making sure that they have you in check.
Yeah, exactly. So So I think having the people around you to help you keep you in check is very important. They need to be able to tell you that you're not being reasonable. They need to be able to tell you that you are fucking things up. So I think it's very important for you to have those people around you and not just people pleasers, because they are the most dangerous types.
Yeah, because they're
They're
basically falling into a pitfall, and they're just like, go on, go ahead, keep going.
Exactly.
They're not helpful at all.
So I think the one common trait about the people I have closest to me is that they are all highly opinionated individuals.
Oh, really?
So I feel like
I can see it now.
Even Marco is
he's highly opinionated.
and I think I keep people like that around me because they have opinions about anything. And when that happens, they tend to want to talk and elaborate their feelings when they hear something from me. So I think that's very important for me, because then I get to think about my choices, and I get to also consider their considerations.
Right. I was just thinking, like, dude, it's so fucking important. Yeah, like, I want to keep emphasizing this again. I think this is one of the silver lining of this podcast theme, like today. Like, make sure that you can find good people around you and maintain them always in your circle.
Yeah.
I think that's like literally like the big theme here.
And I feel like that circle or the people around you, they don't have to make you feel good all the time. That's not something that you need. Maybe that's something that you want, but it's not what you need.
What you need is to feel like an idiot sometimes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because you're fucking things up and you're messing
Yes.
it. That's so cool. Right. Where do I want to go again? We talked about family. We talked about mentors. We talked about brotherhood. We talked about relationships. Oh, I want to talk about this as well. Like, we mentioned before that what makes a man attractive is how they carry and how they see themselves first, because that's what allows other people to see in you, right? If you see yourself as unwanted and attractive, that's basically you telling other people that you are unwanted and attractive. So the first thing that you need to fix is actually how you see yourself first. That's cool. My question is like, okay, what are the things that you genuinely admired from your current partner right now?
My current partner right now.
Hello.
I think her patience.
Because you're not patient.
I'm not patient at all. So I need someone to help me I need someone to keep me in check also. Like, you're not being reasonable at all. So her patience.
Is that something in common with all accountants? You know, they have to be patient.
Wait, I was an accountant though. I was an accountant. But yeah, there's a reason why it's a was and not an. So
there's a reason why it was not an is.
Yeah. So I think her patience and also how caring she is. Like, I mean, like, how she takes care of me when I'm sick, when I'm not feeling well, when I'm feeling down. I think that's very important because, like I said, it's even though I focus on how to see the silver lining in things, sometimes it's hard, bro. Like sometimes it's just easier for you to feel sorry for yourself.
Exactly,
right?
to pity yourself, you know.
Yeah, but then like having someone to take care of you and help you get back up is very important.
I think that's fucking important to have. You know, like having this duality in mind. So like what I'm trying to say here is that you have like brothers who can call out on your bullshit and who can like make sure that you don't wallow in self-pity. And then at the same time, it's kind of important for you to also have this like nurturing figure in your romantic partner to make sure that they can empathize with your pain as well.
Yeah, it's very important because sometimes the friend group that I'm looking for are those that are able to challenge me all the time, right? So if I have all those people challenging me all the time,
Exactly.
I would need someone who can, support me once in a while to keep me sane, right? So that's what I look for, right?
Benar. Yeah, it all comes back down to balance. Like you have these groups of people who can challenge you, and you
Yes.
also have this romantic figure who can actually support you through like hard shit, man. Hard shit.
Yeah, I think what makes an interesting podcast is the extreme and thought-provoking ideas. But then when the time comes, I think balance is
Key.
what matters. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like it's very important to keep everything balanced. And of course, the points that we've mentioned just now works, but we doesn't mean that we need to ignore the other side of whatever that is that we spoke about, right?
Right.
Having friends who constantly challenge you is very important, but sometimes what you need is someone who can empathize with you and
Empathize
understand
and
you.
support you.
So, making sure that you can carry yourself is very important. But sometimes before you learn how to carry yourself, you need to know how it feels to not be able to carry yourself.
fuck, that's gold.
So
That's gold.
So I think
gold.
there are two sides of everything, right? So like it's not that when we say about A, the opposite is not important
Right.
for you to pay attention to. It's just that for the sake of this podcast and for my life right now, I put more emphasis there. Gitu aja sih.
Can you further elaborate on what you mean by oftentimes before you carry yourself, you first need to understand what it's like to be unable to carry yourself?
Because when you're unable to carry yourself and you actually experience the effects of the consequences of you not being able to carry yourself, then you realize it's very important for you to know how to carry yourself. So I think it's part of the learning curve aja sih for you to understand, because the points that we've mentioned in this podcast is because of our previous failures can
Yeah.
us doing the complete opposite.
Right.
So if I want challenging friends now, back then I used to have supportive friends who are overly supportive. So
Dude.
yeah, it doesn't mean that the opposite is not important. Maybe experiencing the opposite makes you realize that you need the other side
Gua paham sekarang.
more.
Yeah.
Gitu aja sih.
Because you experience the challenging part, then you can understand why is it important to understand the supportive aspect of the relationship.
But maybe for you to appreciate the points that we've mentioned
You
right
have to
now,
go
you
here
need
first.
you need to experience
Exactly.
that first. Gitu sih.
It's just a natural consequence of failure gak sih sebenarnya? Trial and error gitu loh
Yeah.
jadinya. Feedback loop. Again,
Yeah.
it all comes back down to that. That's cool. This is a bit off topic. Aurelia, what do you genuinely admire from this handsome man right over here? What do you genuinely admire from this handsome man over here? I want to know about the woman's point of view as well.
I think
She gets camera shy and we cannot put her in the spotlight. So it's like that. This happened like a few times. I just mentioned to her about this morning.
Udah mau meledak ya? Udah mau meledak.
ya menurut gue sih dia smart.
Smart. Intelligence. Intelligence is sexy in a man. Would you consider, in your experience dealing with women, what seemed to be the common desire that they all seem to have?
Wait, again? Wait, repeat the question again.
In your experience dealing with women, what seemed to be the silver lining,
Like the common trait.
Yeah, the common traits, the common desires that they have.
At some point, they need to know what they want. I think I want someone to know what they want aja sih sebenarnya. Kayak So I think life is ambiguous as it is, right? If you have a partner who is clear on what they want, and like giving you what they expect, like what you mentioned, right? You need to set expectations,
Right.
so that you don't risk the future, right? So I think someone who knows what they want is something that I constantly look for. Get to see.
Something that I just realized is this, yeah. One of the ways you can understand whether or not someone is being authentic or whether or not they're lying their ass off is by seeing that they have like a circular pattern in their logic. And I think that one of the circular pattern in your logic is that you put so much value in authenticity. And you put so much value in self-awareness, my bad, right? Because that's exactly like the answer to my question that you always tie it back into. And that's when I know, okay, you're not lying your ass off. Like this is like a fully integrated person who has like his mind at least together already. One of the things that Marco has in mind is that his circular pattern of logic is always like providing and protecting. Always. It all comes back down to that. Every single question that I ask him about what it means to be a healthy masculine man, what kind of father do you want to be? It all comes back down to that one single thing. I wanted to be someone who can provide and protect. And I think that one of the cool things about, just generally speaking, like one of the cool things about talking with people is to see that silver lining again, that recurring pattern over and over again that people have developed in their life. That's cool. I want to try a different format where usually I've done podcasts for like 3 hours, but I want to see what it's like if we cut it short to 1 hour. Right. Okay. I usually end the podcast with these like 3 big questions in mind. It will be this. The first question is this. If the person sitting in front of you is Ashwin when he was 21 years old, what would you say to him?
What would I say to my younger self? I think be more present. I was too focused on the future that I was not able to enjoy what I had, and that's I think that's quite. I wouldn't say something that I regret, but like I realize how much fun I had. But I didn't realize that I thought that I was preparing myself for more fun. But then the fun that I have now is completely different to the fun that I had before. And really being present would make me better realize, how special it was. And I think the second point is to document more things. Like take more pictures, take more videos, because I think it's a cool thing to look. I think videos and photos are
They captured the moment so clearly at that time.
they're time vessels. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're time vessels.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, you too.
Be more present, document more things.
Yeah.
There's a saying there's an idea that goes along the lines like, the advice that you would give to yourself when you were 21 is probably the same advice that you still need to hear now.
I think that's completely valid.
Yeah. The advice that you give to your younger self is probably the same advice you need to listen now to be more present. But I think that's cool in that regard. I feel like as a young man, it's so easy for me to always look into the future. Like, oh, I want to be like Marco in this aspect. I want to be like Ashwin in that aspect. I want to be like these people that I admire in this aspect. And I feel like it's so easy for us to be lost in the future to the point that we forgot that these are the golden years actually. When you are 26, when you're 28, you will probably look back and feel like, fuck man, those are the golden years.
I think what I have to still keep in mind is that yes, maybe the life that I envision is beautiful, but like the journey towards that life is also beautiful, and that is something that I need to realize now and really live by. See,
True. The destination is beautiful. the journey is as well.
Yeah.
It sounds so cliche. It sounds so cringe, honestly. But like this is something that I just realized about cliches as well. The reason why cliches are cliches is because they're eternally and timelessly true.
Yeah.
So you probably need to listen to them even though they're cringe.
Yeah.
You know?
And like people keep on saying that even though it's a cliche.
Exactly. Then it's probably true.
Because it's true. Yeah.
Because it's timelessly true.
Yeah.
Final question to close this. This is basically the same question that I asked to every single every single guest that I had. What is a good life to you? What is a life well lived in the end of the day?
When I get to experience, experience things. So like I think there are a lot of life experiences that I want to experience. Like, I don't have this, checklist, but like I think like jumping off of a plane and those experience, like I think rather than I think when I growing up, I think my parents, they put a lot more emphasis on buying stuff, like owning
materials.
stuff, material. But like to me now, experience is way arguably more important. Like moments like going to concerts, going to travel, and like I think those things are arguably more important to me now. So getting to experience as much of those things, I think it's very gonna be important, and it's a good life if I get to experience things that are things that I don't even know I get to experience now. I think I'm gonna put a lot more emphasis there.
A good life to you is a life full of experiences.
Yes.
Full of moments.
Yes.
What has been the most loveliest experience that you had with your current partner right now?
My current partner right now, the most beautiful. I think we have been trying to figure out life together, and I am. It's in a way it's not as simple as I said it. It's literally about how we want to live our life in the future, and figuring out what we want together and seriously trying to figure it out. I think it's something that I experience on a daily basis with her, which is beautiful. But I mean, like the specific experience that we have experienced together, I think we went to Bali not long ago, and it was a beautiful experience. But I can for sure tell you that it would be small when compared to the other experiences that we're going to experience together. Yeah. So I think what is more exciting for me is the day to day.
Dude, that's fucking
Figuring out.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's no. This is like one of the things that I realized, about relationships. Relationships, 80% of them consist of the daily mundane things,
Yeah.
not the special big ones.
Yes.
Exactly. So if you can get those daily mundane things right, you got like 80% of it right already.
Yeah.
And I actually really love the way that you actually, the first thought that comes to your mind is the daily mundane things of figuring things out.
Yeah.
I think
Like making sure that those things are okay, and like how do we sustainably make our days better. I think sustainability is something that we put a lot of emphasis in.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I can buy you this and that. Yes, I can bring you this and that. Yes, I can take you here and there. But then,
Is it
sustainable?
sustainable
Like,
in the
is
long
it?
term?
Yeah. So I think we put a lot of emphasis in sustainability. That's why when we tolerate each other on certain things, also we think about the sustainability of it, like sustainable aspect of it. So if I tolerate you on this, is it something that I can sustainably do
in the long term?
If it's not, then we perhaps need to talk about it. Yeah. So figuring those things, I think if we think about sustainability more, it really changed the way we live our lives. You to see.
A relationship without conflict is bullshit.
Yeah,
That's something that I came up.
Yeah.
How can people engage in a healthy conflict with their partners?
That is something that we are also still trying to figure out.
Which is why I love this conversation.
But then, I think a healthy conflict is a conflict where, at the end of the day, you don't hate each other for having different views, but like you always try to find the middle ground. And I think, we can all have different opinions, but like being able to still find the middle grounds and be okay with each other, I think it's very important.
Negotiation is important.
Yeah.
That's cool. Ashwin, It's a pleasure speaking with you, man.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Is there anything that you wish we could speak about but we hadn't touched upon?
We spoke about so many things, and I cannot think about one right now. But perhaps when on my way back home, I can think of something.
I should have spoke about that.
Yeah. But right now, I think we spoke about quite a lot of heavy stuff, and it's quite interesting. I think this session made me realize that I put a lot of emphasis in self-awareness. There's something that you told me about, how I always refer back to it, and that makes it real for me, right? And I never see it that way, and now I know. And I think if you keep on doing this podcast with more people, I agree that having this podcast, you get to learn a lot in such short period of time when compared to normal conversations, because you try to pack in more fruits.
Exactly. I love your word choice. Fruits.
So I think it's very interesting. It's also something this experience actually made me learn a few things about myself also. Yeah, so
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I do.
it's cool.
I think one of the beautiful things about this art of podcasting is that in the pursuit of genuine conversations, you realize that both of you learn something new at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the exciting part.
Yeah, definitely.
I get to see things from you that I didn't get to see before, and you get to see things from me that you didn't see before. And I think that's just like fucking gold.
Yeah.
That's the gold, man.
And I think I have to agree with you that having a script is cool, but like not having one makes it a bit more
Exactly.
exciting,
because you don't know where the fuck you're going. Exactly. It's just a free flow, and not having the pressure like, oh, I really want it to last like for 3 hours like the people that I admire to. I think letting things flow as it is makes me realize that that's what makes it beautiful in the first place.
And I think even so, you were able to like still structure the podcast and making sure that we talk about different topics, right? So I think the fact that you have that in mind, I believe for me, from this one podcast alone, I believe that you shouldn't have a script, because
maybe, yeah.
I feel like you're able to do that already. I mean, like to structure and section the podcast into different sections, right? So it's something cool that you're gifted on that sense,
I appreciate
and
that.
you just have to keep going at it, right? So
Dude, I genuinely appreciate it, honestly.
yeah.
Oh, okay. No, it's just we're just closing it at the moment. Yeah. No, but genuinely speaking, I sincerely appreciate your feedback in that regard. Why? Because there's this idea called the lonely chapter, where every single person who are in a place where they wanted to be, but was in a place where they don't want to be, had been in a lonely chapter in their life where nobody is supporting them. And that's exactly where I am right now. Like the fact that there's nobody helping me with the cameras and everything, setting things up. The fact that there's nobody helping me to learn how to do a proper podcast properly made me realize that those precious feedbacks, how you saw the talent in me, made me realize, fuck man, yeah, this is something that I should double down upon.
Yeah, of
I was thinking about what you said to me previously in the cafe. Like you asked me a question like, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? And I couldn't really answer that question back then, but now like if I really like try to listen to myself, and that's something that I want to say as well. Like it's so easy for me to listen to other people, but I forgot that listening to myself is equally important as well. And I realized that when I started to listen to myself, I realized that in the next 5 years, this is something that I want to do. In the next 5 years, if I ask myself this question all the time, if money is not a problem in this world, what would you do? Because that's something that you genuinely love. And I would say this is something that I would do for the next 5 years over and over again, even though it flops.
You'll do fine, man. I feel like you just have to keep going at it and find the right person to talk to. I mean, since you have just started, I think you've managed to not interview, but like have this podcast with me, a nobody, right? But like moving forward, if you get to interview and do this podcast with more important individuals, I think you'll be fine. You'll generate exciting contents that I would enjoy and I would listen to. So
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Ashwin, thank you very much, bro. Appreciate it.
so much.
Okay, that's it, guys. In
ya.
3, 2, 1. That's Ashwin. Bye.